Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Summoner's War. I'm your host LPO Tree. So, 6.04 update is finally here. But first, let's go look at my stuff because I'm greedy as hell. So, my Water Ryu arena defense, where he's not max skilled still, actually worked. I hit Guardian for the very first time. Just barely. I mean, Guardian cap is 300. My defense carried on near the end, somewhat. That's disgusting. Anyway, so the last 3 attacks were these 3. I won 2 out of 3. So thank you, Mr. Destroyer Penguin Blade Master and Sith God, for pushing me over the Guardian threshold. And to celebrate, I actually summoned 1 premium pack and the 50 LD pieces. I got a dupe Belness that I already fed. This is just kind of showing you that's what I got. But with the LD pieces, I pulled a Molly. And we'll play with her with some other units that I have some ideas with. And hopefully I can pull the Fire Ryu to make it even better. Let's see. So the biggest part, the 6.04, is repeat battle. If you've probably seen this building before, because people stack this on their summoning circle in some kind of glitch that is probably not recommended, and maybe I'll have trouble separating the two. However, we repeat battle. So, we can do any kind of Caiross dungeon, any of the Rift Beasts except for the main one, in any scenario. 10 times in the background of everything else we're doing. So you can still summon, you can still rune manage, you can still do anything except for another kind of battle. So you can't do arena fights, you can't beat your rivals, you can't do RTA. You can keep doing these until you run out of rune storage space, until you run out of energy, or until you wipe. So, I guess you might as well notice that now I have 180 max energy. They introduced a new recharge energy thing to compensate for the newer max energy you might have. So now there's a plus 190 for 60 crystals. And you'll watch this thing drop like crazy because of it. How to get anything good? Nope. Anything good? I can try it. Let's see what this one drops. Raymond and Matt. Oh well. Okay. This thing will show you how your runs are doing, if any monsters died, and your times. So, what was I doing? Oh yeah, so to get the energy, it's already maxed to 150. To get the additional, it's actually up to 190 total. You need to craft these buildings. Energy max storage plus 10. The dragon, the giant, and the necro. And there's also one more. To do that, you go to the craft building and you do the craft building, and then you get the 4 statues. And you need to farm those mats. So, because I'm Molly, it kind of wasted all my Essence of Light highs. So this has to be another week. But energy max storage with this building too. You could probably buy some, I think, from these things. This is probably not recommended. Maybe not. Oh well. Don't care too much. Let's see. Next on my list is TOA resets in less than 11 hours. The biggest part to TOA this time around is that TOA normal level 50 will drop the last free-to-play Street Fighter V scroll. instead of dropping the 2 mystical scrolls, you'll get one of those. So, you know, kind of waiting for that 4th Wind Dhalsim. Yeah. Alright. Also, because of the update, there's now a new pack. Go to Efficient, go to the 3rd one. Now, with this pack, I was always arguing for a pack for the people kind of thing. So for most people, these packs are ridiculously expensive and not worth buying it. And so I always wanted a pack where, you know, some kid that's not working, that just gets an allowance from their father, or, you know, the parents, can just say, oh yeah, you know, I don't want to waste my money on buying mystical scrolls. You know, remember, because this is Summoner's War, the whole point is to summon. And so a pack for the people would be a good thing. Normally, if you bought mystical scrolls with crystals, it would be about, it's like $2 a scroll, something ridiculous. So this one is now 3 scrolls for every $2. So I think that's like double. Anyway, even if this was like $15 for 30 scrolls, where it's 2 scrolls for every $1, that might still be kind of high. Basically, I'd rather have 20 scrolls for $10. Because $10 is that point where, hey, it's just $10, I can spend it. But when you're going to like, hey, it's just $20 I can spend it, you're like, I can buy a steak at Denny's for less than 20 bucks. You know, something like that, where, I mean, you don't really go for steak dinners at Denny's, but that kind of concept where you could have $20 for something a little better than 30 scrolls kind of thing. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. Also, I think this thing also increases that refresh part of it. Remember, people ask, how do you get energy max storage higher than the 190? So now you get it with this. And I think your refresh rate goes up by 10 also. Alright. Next big thing on the list is rune management for artifacts. So now you have a little tab here to show you what your artifact stats are for your units, as well as a little thing right here that you can switch over to do your artifact management. So you can organize it just the same as you would any other runes. I'll quickly go over kind of like an update. If you missed my video on artifacts, what to get, what not to get, I'll just kind of go over it again and actually update it. So, damage dealt on something or other. Ideally, these are for the bosses. If you're doing Giant Speed 12, your unit should have this one. For the rest of them, you don't really need it. I think RTA people can do wind, because especially for the most part, if you're fighting nothing but Sierras, Gani, Hathor kind of thing, then maybe wind and water. Damage received. Damage received from wind, especially, put it on your arena defense. Even your fire units, damage received from wind. Because whatever reason, Lucian is still too crazy, too good, and all the Guardian players will still just Lucian away at your team. Even if you have a full fire team, a bunch of Kumars, they'll still basically double Lucian it. Their idea is they're faster, they have nearly 100 crit, and even that don't crit, they'll be attack bar boosted enough to lap your Kumar and do the rest of the damage that it was missing, and then in the meantime they already killed the rest of your team. So, damage received from wind for your arena defense. I also use Jultan damage received from light as he tanks the light Punisher boss. That's a pretty good one. The dark one I don't use, I mean it's Necro boss I guess, but there's not enough dark damage dealers. Same with the light one except for that Punisher boss. So anything else, you just sell you'd sell these. Skill 4 crit damage, I sell these instantly. Basically it's Samurais and Christina. Samurais, the skill 4 has a low multiplier, and you need to trigger it before you can use it. And so that's definitely not very efficient to use. If you do quad roll it, maybe I'll hold one if I ever get a Christina. Skill 3 recovery, probably the best of the recovery ones. Basically, most of the healers will have a skill 3 recovery, as well as any of the healers with a passive recovery. So, things like Perna, Molly, Rakuni, those all have passive recoveries. For recovery skill 3, you also have like Fran, Colleen, Beladion, all those will have the third skill recoveries. Second skills like Jasun, that kind of thing. Past recoveries also Chow, Camilla. So keep those in mind. The inability ones, I always sell those. The crit rate increasing ones, I sell these. Basically, if you have a unit that does the crit rate increasing effect, and you have something that in the team with that, you probably have enough crit rate that you don't really need this thing to add more. Well, that makes sense. Just ruin your monster better. Reflect damage, I don't use this, I don't have enough reflect damage units to do this. Crushing hit, you don't want this because you don't want to have your unit crushing it all the time. Even your, I guess the ones that benefit, Lure, third skill, the Brownie Magician's second skill, there's not enough that makes this thing like, oh, I want to make it a damage dealer. Let's crushing hit everything. It doesn't make any sense. An ability, I sell these. Crit damage received. You want this on anything you don't want to die. Any of your tanks, like Triana is a good one. Anything on your arena defense, you want this. The revived ones, I just sell these. Just the numbers are so low that, and then how often your unit actually revives, you probably don't need them. It's just not efficient enough. And finally, your additional damages based on your stats. These are very good, especially for multi-hitters, especially for things with ridiculously high ones of these things. You'll do crazy extra flat damage. So for example, my Water Mugless will have additional damage by that and that. So, it's a flat damage thing based off of one of the stats. And the stats are your base stats, your rune stats, your bonuses from your leader skill, your bonuses from an attack buff or whatever buff if you have it, and basically everything. So including this part where additional attack based on proportional HP lost will add more damage based on this. If you take him to RTA and you pass that time threshold, I mean you can't take him in particular, but any other monster, as the time goes on, you'll get more attack and you'll lose the HP just based on how RTA works. And then that attack will make this thing go stronger. So ideally you want things with multi-hits or things that don't do damage already, or things that don't have crit damage. Because these are flat damage attacks, basically, per hit. So multi-hitters, AoE users will benefit the most from these. So for example, your Oracles, your Magic Knights, this guy, anything with a lot of like hits. So Sierra in particular, and same with Malacca, and those kind of bombers, additional damage by attack is very good because for the most part you might do triple attack or speed attack as your primary stats, and then this number will skyrocket and do extra damage. Even for Lucian, you want more attack. So you might get an extra like 2k of damage per card, which is pretty good. Extra 6,000 damage. And I don't even know, they could be even higher than that. I haven't tested it too much, but very nice to have additional damage. Next on my list, because we have artifacts, a new artifact management system. I will not have free room removal from now until Thursday midnight. Free removal is always good. especially for more than one day. So, time to mess around. If I have time, I can test something. Okay. Next thing back in the craft building. Others. Rainbow Mon 3-star. You can now make these in bulk. 10 at a time. Perfect for Wailing and Mr. Island Grown. You can now sacrifice all these units to make more Rainbow Mon. And you can do them in bulk. Very good. And then last on my list, the Summoners War SWC preliminaries are still going. We're now towards the China, Hong Kong region. Pick 2. I picked Mr. Chung because he sounds like he's the mob boss of the gang or whatever. And I don't know. I think they're supposed to say coconut, whatever that is. So I just picked a random other one. I don't really care much for Pokemon, so this is who I picked. And we get more free stuff, hopefully. Probably 2 more codes or so next coming weekend. And I guess that's it for this new patch. If you want to know about more of the details, you can always go to Notice, Update Notice 6.04. We talked about the repeat battle system, we talked about the artifact management. The more energy, you get more energy if you craft those buildings. You get more with the recharge thing. See, if you get the daily pack 1, you get more recharge energy. You get make the room on in bulk. You get the pack for the people thing. Some weird fixes, blah blah blah. They nerfed Ken because Ken was getting free turns after his 3rd skill regardless if he crit or not. And there's some kind of effect between the Dark Fairy King and the Dark Oracle, so I don't think that's going to matter to most people. Alright, so one last look to see if I got anything good. Did I lose? Oh, I lost. So when I lost, it stopped. Alright, well, this is LPO Treat. Thank you for watching and have a good night.